Louis Tomlinson has never been one to mince words, especially when it comes to matters that strike at the heart of his personal experiences and the legacy of his former band. In a raw and unfiltered conversation that has sent ripples through the entertainment world, the former One Direction heartthrob openly declared his deep-seated animosity toward Logan Paul, the controversial YouTuber and wrestler whose actions have left an indelible scar on Tomlinson's life. "If King forever despise Logan Paul, horrible little f cur," Tomlinson stated bluntly in an interview with The Independent, his words dripping with the kind of venom that only comes from profound betrayal and loss. This isn't just idle celebrity beef. It's a visceral reaction to a moment that Tomlinson believes exacerbated the struggles of his late bandmate, Liam Payne, whose tragic death last year continues to haunt the music industry and its fans alike. To understand the depth of Tomlinson's fury, one must rewind to 2022, a year that now feels like a distant nightmare for the 33-year-old singer. At that time, Payne appeared on Paul's Impaulsive podcast, a platform known for its brash, no-holds-barred style that often veers into uncomfortable territory. What was intended as a casual chat about One Direction's formation and the band's dynamics quickly devolved into something far more damaging. Payne, who had been open about his battles with addiction and mental health, let loose in ways that shocked listeners. He positioned himself as the central figure around whom Simon Cowell built the boy band phenomenon, crediting his own charisma for drawing in Tomlinson, Harry Styles, Zayn Malik and Niall Horan. But it was Payne's pointed jabs at his bandmates that ignited the firestorm. He labeled Tomlinson as rowdy, painting a picture of backstage chaos where tensions boiled over into physical confrontations. Payne even recounted an incident where an unnamed band member allegedly threw him up a wall during a concert, a story that fans dissected endlessly, speculating on the identities involved. The interview didn't stop there. Payne's most scathing remarks were reserved for Malik, whom he accused of abandoning the group and leaving the remaining members to pick up the pieces. "There's many reasons why I dislike Zayn, and there's many reasons why I'll always be on his side," Payne said cryptically, a statement that left more questions than answers. It was a tangled web of loyalty, resentment and unresolved pain from the band's 2015 split, all laid bare in a format that prioritized shock value over sensitivity. Fans of One Direction, a group that sold over 70 million records worldwide and defined a generation of pop music, were appalled. Social media erupted with hashtags like #ProtectOneDirection and calls for accountability, as supporters argued that Paul's podcast had exploited Payne's vulnerabilities for clicks and controversy. In the immediate aftermath, Payne recognized the misstep. Issuing a public apology, he explained that his words stemmed from a place of raw anger amid personal turmoil. "I was so angry at what was going on around me. I took it out on everybody else," he admitted, revealing that he had checked into rehab for 100 days to address his substance abuse issues. It was a moment of vulnerability that humanized Payne, reminding the world that behind the polished pop star facade lay a man grappling with the pressures of fame. Yet for Tomlinson the damage was done. He views Paul's role in facilitating that conversation as a profound failure of journalistic, or in this case podcaster, ethics. "I think that's also the problem with some of this new media. I would like to think some journalists have a duty of care," Tomlinson reflected, his voice laced with disappointment. In an era where influencers and podcasters wield immense influence without the traditional guardrails of established media, Tomlinson's critique cuts deep, highlighting the blurred lines between entertainment and exploitation. The tragedy that amplifies this disdain unfolded just months ago, in October 2024, when Payne's life was cut short in a heartbreaking fall from the third-story balcony of his hotel room at the Casa Sir Palermo Hotel in Buenos Aires, Argentina. He was only 31, leaving behind a grieving family, a 7-year-old son named Bear, and a fanbase still reeling from the news. The autopsy painted a grim picture. Multiple traumas including a fractured skull, internal and external bleeding, and a toxicology report that revealed a blood alcohol content 4 times the legal limit, alongside traces of cocaine, crack and benzodiazepine. It was a stark reminder of the demons Payne had fought publicly and privately, battles that the 2022 interview arguably worsened by dredging up old wounds without offering support. Tomlinson, who had shared a brotherly bond with Payne forged in the fires of teenage stardom, was devastated. The two had navigated the whirlwind of One Direction together, from X Factor auditions in 2010 to sold-out stadium tours and the inevitable growing pains of adulthood. Payne's death prompted Tomlinson to pen a heartfelt tribute, calling him a brother, a friend and a bandmate whose light had been extinguished too soon. The band's surviving members, Styles, Malik, Horan and Tomlinson, gathered in London the following month for a private funeral, a somber reunion that underscored the enduring fractures and affections within the group. Paparazzi captured glimpses of their red-eyed solidarity outside the church, a poignant image that contrasted sharply with the podcast's divisive narrative. Tomlinson's decision to name Paul publicly isn't impulsive. It's a calculated stand against what he perceives as toxic elements in modern celebrity culture. Logan Paul, 30, has built an empire on edginess, from his infamous 2018 Suicide Forest video that nearly derailed his career to his WWE wrestling persona and lucrative podcast deals. Yet, for Tomlinson, Paul's Impaulsive episode crossed an unforgivable line, preying on Payne's fragility at a time when he needed compassion, not confrontation. This isn't Tomlinson's first foray into calling out industry ills. He's long advocated for better mental health resources for young artists, drawing from One Direction's own history of burnout and public scrutiny. In interviews, he's spoken about the machine of fame that chews up and spits out its stars, and Paul's role in Payne's story fits neatly into that critique.